You have probably seen and been doing glute bridges on the floor with your body weight, but it does nothing. You have also been doing clamshells with or without bands, but it still does nothing, not to mention hip abduction machine. But do you know why they don't work? Because no muscle is asleep. Your glutes got already so much stimulus and growth just from walking, so they are going to need way more punch than doing a couple of reps with your body weight. There are 3 proven ways to not wake them up, but to actually grow them. So nobody can say that your glutes are looking like some inverted garlics. Squats. However generic it sounds like. Any squatting variation is going to train and hit your glutes. And there are some ways to bias it more, so put some emphasis on them by keeping your shins roughly vertical, what I don't recommend if you're doing squats. But you also don't have to do it. Grab a really heavy weight that you can only lift for 5 to 9 rep ranges and take it all the way to failure. Yes, all the way to failure. You need to experience how it feels like to train your glutes really hard, and you won't be able to comprehend the idea why you've been wasting months doing bodyweight exercise just from doing one set. Just one set. There is only one science literature about going heavy and glute activation, but one study is just not enough to trust it. So I turned to my good old friend, the anecdotes. And I tried it, experimented with it, and it does work. And I have my reasons for that. First, for any squatting exercise, there are multiple muscles doing the job. For example, your quads, your glutes. Okay, there are 2 muscles doing it. Maybe 3 if we are counting your adductors. And both of them are powerful, but at different leverages. But if you go really heavy, your body has no choice but to turn to the good old powerhouse, to your glutes. And this is just one reason, but I trust this one reason. You should do squatting 1 to 2 times per week, from barbell back squat all the way to split squats. I know you hate it, but you also hate having the door as your identical twin as well, right? Go heavy and do anything in between 2 to 3 sets in the 5 to 9 rep ranges, and go at least below 90 degrees. If you are never going there with any squatting variation, then you are challenging nothing. And if you are challenging nothing, that's what's going to grow. Nothing. You need to improve your relative and absolute strength for years, and your glutes are going to answer. Second is the hip thrust. And if you are like me and you've never had a problem squeezing yourself through fences, then you need to start doing this exercise. Form is really simple. You just have to keep your shins roughly vertical, and the box height should be around your knee height. And don't get twisted when people say that, oh, if it's too high or if it's too low. It is just a different angle. You can still lock out your hip, and that's also a point that you always have to lock it out. So go into a full hip extension. So just because you have a higher bench or a lower one, it's still going to be your glutes doing the work. It is just going to be a different angle. You can hip thrust 2 to 3 times weight relative to your body, or you can have the absolute strength of at least 180 kilogram for 3 sets in the 5 to 9 rep ranges, and there is nobody who can say that, yeah, those glutes are looking like flatbreads. Does it take time? Yeah, it is going to take you years, but at least they are going to improve. And you can do this exercise 2 to 3 times per week, 2 to 3 sets in the 5 to 9 rep ranges, progressively get stronger. And the last one is RDL. Or you can even do the stiff leg deadlift. And I know it's going to put more emphasis on your hamstrings, but in both exercises, both of them are working, one of them is working a bit more. I would prefer to do RDL still. But this is the interesting one, because the form is not complicated, but it's difficult to get it right. All you have to do is push your hip back, and once it's not going back anymore, that's the end range of motion. You just have to thrust your hip forward, but not too far forward, just to the starting point, and from there, you don't need to hyperextend. Again, progressively get stronger and push it close to failure. There are a few exercises like the barbell back squat and the RDL where I'm not pushing the sets all the way to failure because the risk to reward ratio just doesn't worth it. But it doesn't mean that you can't go 1 to 2 reps shy of failure. Do it 1 to 2 times per week, 1 to 3 sets, and in the 5 to 9 rep ranges. So that means that you're going to have to go heavy. At least you can make sure that you are progressing. And if you can improve your relative and your absolute strength, nobody's going to complain about your glutes. That's going to include yourself. If you only do these 3 exercises, I can guarantee that your glutes are going to grow. Nobody had great glutes from only being able to squat their body weight or deadlift their body weight only, let alone doing some body weight or banded glute bridges on the floor. However harsh it sounds like. Don't forget to subscribe. Watch these 2 videos next. Talk to you in the next one.